The box arrived just after sunset. Plain, unmarked, too careful. I remember the weight of it in my hands, light but not empty, wrapped in brown paper, tied with a string that felt deliberate. I didn't think much of it until I saw the handwriting on the tiny white tag. Her handwriting, my wife's sister. A soft tap of suspicion pressed against the back of my skull. I ignored it, or tried to. The chocolates were inside, handmade, uneven, each one molded with more effort than skill. My wife looked at them, then at me, then away, too quickly. So I left them on the table, let them sit, let the night cool around them. The next morning, just after breakfast, my phone rang. Her voice, sweet, sharp, poured through the speaker. "So, how were the chocolates?" I could almost hear her leaning forward, waiting. I smiled. Calm. Empty. "Oh, I gave them to your kids," I said. "They love sweets." The silence that followed was instant, heavy, suspiciously terrified. Then she screamed. "You did what?" Her voice cracked, her breath caught. And in that fracture, I heard something she didn't mean to show. Fear. Not the kind you feel when someone makes a harmless mistake. The kind you feel when the mistake exposes something you were trying to hide, something dangerous. That was the moment everything shifted. The moment I realized the chocolates weren't a gift. They were a message, or a warning, or a mistake she never meant to make. And I, without knowing why, had just triggered her panic. The line stayed open, but she didn't speak again. She didn't have to. Something was very, very wrong. Her reaction clung to me the rest of the day like a shadow that refused to detach. I kept replaying her voice, how fast it broke, how fast she tried to catch it. My wife didn't ask about the call. She didn't ask about the chocolates either. And the absence of questions told me more than any answers could have. There had been small things before, quiet things, things you pretend not to see if you want peace more than truth. Her sister always texting late at night. My wife leaving the room when my footsteps got too close. Their whispers at family gatherings, too synchronized, too practiced. But I let it all float past me. I told myself families were messy. I told myself I didn't need to know everything. Then the chocolates came, and her sister's panic, and the long silence afterward. Something tightened in my chest. Slow, cold, deliberate. A recognition I didn't want to name yet. Infidelity has a smell before it becomes a fact. An instinctive metallic scent you pretend is imagination. But that morning, the scent became undeniable, and I knew this wasn't about chocolates. This was about what was inside them, or what was meant to happen after I ate them. Her sister wasn't afraid for me. She was afraid of what I might learn by surviving something I was never supposed to question. Whatever was happening between them, my wife and her sister, ran deeper than betrayal. It ran into desperation. And desperation leaves footprints. I didn't confront anyone, not yet. Instead, I began collecting threads, quietly, gently, without emotion. Emotion clouds the hunt. I checked their message history on the shared tablet. Deleted chats, the kind people only erase when they know they shouldn't exist. I requested my phone records. Her sister had called more often than she ever called her own husband. I found receipts hidden in my wife's drawer, hotel bookings she never mentioned. Not for nights she was out with friends, but mornings she claimed she had early meetings. Every discovery felt like pushing a needle deeper into my skin. Painful, precise, necessary. I never asked her questions. I didn't want lies. I wanted proof. I collected it piece by piece until the picture began to form, not of an affair, but of coordination, planning, A relationship built in secrecy and strengthened by something darker than desire. Why send chocolates? Why panic when the wrong person ate them? I sent one chocolate to a lab. Just one. Enough to tell me what I needed. As I waited, I watched them both. The way my wife avoided my eyes. The way her sister didn't call again. The way they seemed to hold their breath when I walked into a room. The truth was circling them, and they could feel it. The results arrived 3 days later. I opened the envelope slowly, almost gently, like it contained the remnants of a life already dead. Inside was a single line of black text. Detected high-dose sedative compound. Not lethal, not fatal, but strong enough to drop someone. Strong enough to make memory blur. Strong enough to make decisions questionable. My hands didn't shake. My breath didn't falter. Instead, I felt something settle inside me, a cold understanding. They didn't want me dead. They wanted me compromised, fogged, manipulable. Why? To what end? I already knew. I just needed to see it break on her face. That night, I placed the report on the dining table. Not hidden, not dramatic, just there. When my wife saw it, her knees almost buckled. She didn't speak. Her mouth opened, closed, trembled. I watched her drown in the truth she tried to bury. I said nothing. Silence is the sharpest blade. She reached for the paper with shaking fingers. Where did you get this?" Her voice was thin, afraid, exposed. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Her sister walked in moments later, unplanned, uninvited. Fate has impeccable timing. She saw the paper, her face drained. "You weren't supposed to," she stopped herself. Too late. I watched them crumble. Two women who thought they were smarter than consequences, who thought they could drug me, manipulate me, steer my decisions, my finances, my property, while I floated in a haze they controlled. I slid the chocolates box across the table, untouched except for the one I tested. "You should tell your kids," I said calmly, "not to eat handmade gifts from people who panic easily." Her sister's entire body stiffened, a shiver of guilt, a tremor of fear. I stood, not angry, not loud, just done. Revenge doesn't require destruction. Sometimes it only requires letting someone confront the ruin they built with their own hands. I walked out of the house without looking back. Their voices chased me. Panic, excuses, broken pleas, but none of it touched me. My emotions had already severed themselves, cleanly, effortlessly. People fear the moment of betrayal, but the real terror is the moment after, when the betrayed finally understands the truth and no longer cares. I got into my car, closed the door, locked out the noise. As I drove away, I felt something strange. Not relief, not victory, clarity. Cold, perfect clarity. They tried to take my mind, so I took back everything else. And the final thought that settled in my chest was quiet, brutal, and true. I wasn't the one who needed saving. They were the ones who should fear what comes next.